I'm kind of loving this look.
The kangaroo.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
His name is Garu.
That's not a very Aussie sort of, like, okay, is the kangaroo Aussie, the very least?
I would hope so. I mean, given that it's a fucking roo.
You never know.
You know.
Could be funny.
Hang on. I'll send you. I'll pop it in the open chat here.
Mm-hmm.
Whoop. This is what he looks like. So his shirt has like a pocket on it with infinite space. It's like a bag of holding, a pouch of holding.
Okay. Where is?
He carries it. It's in the Zebra streaming. Yeah.
Oh, that looks cool. That honestly looks cool. I'm gonna be real with you. I was expecting Ty, from the video game. I was expecting like a very stereotypical
something like that,
Australian.
yeah.
Whereas this one here just looks like cool sci-fi, cool fantasy. So I love it.
Yeah. He's able to put his hand inside the pouch pocket thing.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. I am now dropping my promotional thingamadiggy across all the systems. Because...
For everyone who is wondering what the hell we're talking about a kangaroo character from a game series called I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation. Yuden Chronicles Rising.
Never heard of this game before.
I have not heard of this game series, but I have heard of the series that it spawned from, which was Suikoden.
Sweet Coitus?
No, Suikoden. I'm probably mispronouncing that one too.
Yeah. Either way, never heard of that either. And this is on the Game Pass now.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because Microsoft, like, for the last few years now, they have been they've been trying to get into the Japanese market, because Sony, with their PlayStation, for a long while was impeding that movement for quite a bit.
Yeah.
So maybe because they're now able to break into it and such with their Game Pass, it's now, you got heap more things. So throwing into all the self-promotion areas that I can, because I am not a popular zebra yet.
Well, you're still popular enough.
Let's be real. The fact that I'm able to do this, and there's like granted, with advertisements and such, month by month, it's like I'm getting, like, you got paid from this, I got paid from this. That's great, but it's like, do you ever have to, like, that thing of, like, you see other people's success and you have to remind yourself not to think that way? Like, it's a very active role to do that.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. All right. So it's not just me with that.
No, it's not just you. And also, this is how the game series that it came off of. Suikoden.
Koiden.
It was a PlayStation title.
No, PlayStation makes sense. Yeah.
Where it actually had almost 100, kind of like what Chrono Cross did, where you had like a whole fuck ton of allies you had to try and find.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's coming to Steam. The remasters.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Well, that's on my wish list. Who is it? It is People. That is who it is.
Hello.
Hi, YY. How you doing?
Hello.
We're totally, somewhat, not totally, actually prepared today.
No, we're not. Not at all.
No.
I will be real with you.
Hello.
If it wasn't for the fact that you kind of need to do this, like, on the regular and such, I feel like I would have taken, like, a break for whatever, like 2 weeks or something crazy like that. But I cannot, because I know this has happened in the past where I get bored out of my mind and I can't handle, not, being productive, which is a very weird thing.
lately now, like when it comes to me playing a game, I feel I can't play it unless I'm either streaming it or doing it on Discord at the moment with people, with people watching. It's getting to that point where it's like, do I want to play this? Nobody's on to really enjoy or talk with for it. Do I really want to?
Yeah. For me, there are some games there are some games that I've just sort of been like, yeah, I'll play this, and I won't actually, stream it on Twitch, and I don't feel like what's the easy words fail me. I don't feel like I don't feel compelled that like I have to play this, especially if it's like a popular game like Pal World, for instance, because that was on the Game Pass. Everyone's playing this, and I was like, I'm curious about it, and it was such a grind.
Yeah.
And I knew if I did play it, and if I could do a podcast like kind of mindset where it's just sort of there in the background, and I'm able to like communicate with chat and people, it's like, oh, it would absolutely be a fun thing. But that means me picking up the fundamental skill of being able to play games and, communicate agnostically with the game. And it's like, that
I have been considering like setting up a Power World channel in my Discord. And then, like once a week jump on, and whoever's on is in the server for the day, and we'll just, play Power World for a few minutes and then get bored of it.
Yeah, I get what you're meaning. Also, why is there we go. And this
the one game I have been sort of playing a little bit sort of like in boredom terms, and I do want to stream this one, so I don't want to go too far through, is Harvestella.
What is Harvestella?
So it's a Square Enix title that's sort of like farming, role-playing, sort of Final Fantasy sort of thing. It sort of combines the farming elements you would get from like Story of Seasons with a lot of the hack and slash role-playing stuff you would expect from some Final Fantasy games. So you go into dungeons, you can choose your class while you're in dungeons. You go through them, you grab, crap from the dungeons, you do a story through them, and then between those dungeons, you then run, you do your farming and your side quests.
Okay. Oh my god, everything's opening in random windows. Okay, so unpin, keep that, so it's only a manual unpin. Alright, you're down there.
Although I had a look at the new Rotwood demo, which was from Cyan Games, developer of Don't Starve.
What was it? Rotwell?
Yeah, Rotwood from Cly Games. So it's a roguelike hack and slash.
Hack and slash roguelike dungeon crawler. Players will battle corrupt beasts to gather what remains of the carnage to bolster their safe haven alone, own, or with friends in co-op. A demo is available.
Yeah.
Steam Next Fest. Ah, okay. God,
yeah,
there was so much from... Maybe I'm just...
the Next Fest.
I'm probably just getting too old to be able to... Like, there's just too many video games I want to keep up with and such.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's just, because like, there's the periodic enjoyment of Fortnite. There's whatever is new. I finally finished Suicide Squad, but I'm probably not gonna pick up on that. Helldivers 2's got gifted to me. Hi there, unnamed. Aimed, welcome to the stream.
Who gifted you Helldivers 2?
Unnamed did.
Oh, that was nice of you, Unnamed.
It was very nice of him. Here's the funny bit, however. They just shout out, yes, slut. I was in their Discord, and we were discussing, because whenever you hear derogatory terms in real life, they sound absolutely terrible. It's icky and all that, right?
Yeah.
But in fantasy, like with magic and sometimes in the future, very rarely are the derogatory terms like feel derogatory. It's like weird nonsense. It's like, oh, he's a half-blood, and it's like,
yeah.
But like in Star Wars, like the Clone Wars, the phrase clanker, it has that derogatory feeling, and it's like it honestly, like, yeah.
But then we're just talking about a robot, though. It's a clanker.
It's a clanker, and it has that venom to it, where it's like, darn clankers. So we're having a discussion about like, you know, derogatory terms in like a sci-fi setting with the Helldivers, and for some reason we established, like, or not established, but we settled on mutters.
Mutters. That does sound very yeah.
I think it's because, like, when it's a hard at the end, that's it gets the synapses in the brain, like, making connections of, like, yeah, this is derogatory.
Yeah, that is a thing that's gonna get you kicked out of the cookout.
Yeah, it's just, and people, like, and here we are thinking, it's like, damn, writers just can't write good derogatory terms, and it's more of a case of, like, maybe they're just too afraid, is what they are. Anyway,
let's not forget, like, you know, what Cyberpunk's done for these sort of things too.
They've done Choom, Chrome, like, I'm trying to think what, because here's the thing, is like, you know, just the normal, like, insults and such, I feel like work in Cyberpunk, like, you know, like, you know, shit, fuck, cunt, and all those. Like, if it's Corpo, yeah. Like, I'm gonna be real with you, Corpo doesn't really have the same level of, like, you know, insult and what have you, but Corpo scum does. But that's because you're putting scum on the end, which means you're reliant on, like, existing language and what have you. Like, there's got to be a better. There's got to be, like, a better, like, sort of... I don't think it's Corpo. It's got to be something else. We'll think of a derogatory term at some point in the future for, like, the salary man.
Yeah. Have we done our long rest? It doesn't feel like we have.
We have, considering we're all full health. I've got full key points.
Oh, yeah, yep. And I'm not... yeah, okay, so I gotta bind packed weapon.
Corpo is pretty cool as an alternative to calling someone a bootlicker. Yeah, here's the thing, is like bootlicker, brown nose, like those are like, you know, those are like slightly negative, but they're not like derogatory. There isn't this feeling of, ooh, you shouldn't say that about someone. Like, I don't know. Full-time Pete's just doesn't have.
Dog wags his tail, a small bag clenched between his teeth.
What do you got there?
He gives in and surrenders his find to you.
I'm gonna give him pets. All right, so we got two things we need to solve: a murder and like where the rest of the clown is.
His tail wagging even faster.
Mm-hmm. I think we should focus on one and not the other. So I think maybe the murder is going to be the easier one to solve first.
Yeah, it's going to.
I mean, we could end up doing. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you there.
No, it's okay. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I mean, we could figure them both out in one go, but we've just got to, you know, really sort of work through.
Well, where did we end up? Also, hi, Aaron. First time viewer here.
Well, you ended up in jail. Oh, Halson wants to talk.
For a while, after the shadow curse was lifted, I felt hope in a way that I hadn't felt in years. I thought that nature would heal and balance between it and civilization could be restored once and for all.
Is he just upset about that? Oh, look, it's you in the...
I've seen more and more signs that I was being naive. Refugees, orphans, the downtrodden, all being left behind. If such sorrows are the fruits of civilization, perhaps there can be no true balance between it and nature.
I'm playing in a strategy... Yes, I'm playing in a strategy game. I'm not completely himbo. Code, tell him I've been playing this game for a long while now.
Yes, he's been playing this game for a long while and has only got himself arrested once.
See? Once. Totally
and
fine.
then took almost half an hour to get himself out of jail.
to be fair, like, if you said half an hour in real life, that would be fucking amazing. Perhaps there can be no true balance between it and nature. Alright, now, are you gonna give your honest thoughts, or are you gonna give Halsin's thoughts?
I want to know what he means.
Look around us. You will not have to search for long to see exactly what I mean.
Is himbo something bad? No.
Poor girl,
There's nothing wrong with being a himbo, okay? I like being a
City will
himbo
devour
too.
her as sure as
Exactly.
You know,
Predator
you can
would
be
do.
himbo and
Be
you
it
can be
through malice
smart
or just
sometimes. There's
neglect.
pangs of
Her fate will be sealed by this
wisdom in a himbo.
Society should
like
be judged
Kronk
based on how they
or
treat their most vulnerable.
Jason Mendoza.
Baldur's Gate may deserve harsh judgment from what I've seen so far.
What do you think? Actually, I shouldn't say anything.
I mean,
This is
yeah, I
you
kind of
talking.
agree with.
You agree with
I
Halsin?
kind of agree with him. Yeah, I agree with him.
You would.
Oh, you didn't even get any new.
A problem for another day, perhaps.
No, I got approved.
Oh, you got approved. All right,
just
good.
hope-
Good for you. Good for you. Finally,
At least we took
Halcyon
Yenna
likes
in
you.
off the streets.
Daddy!
But there are
Daddy approves!
So, fun fact, chat. Once Code's out of this
Given the
conversation, I'll
circumstances,
show you. Nope, wrong thing. Ding.
Yeah,
examine.
I've gone up a little bit. I've gone up a little bit.
This is the approval meter. Now, this is. So, Halsin here is Code's. Oh, Cookie. Who wanted the cookie? Bookie. Cookie for Bookie. So, this is Halsin, and this is our approval rating. Now, I'm not interested in Halsin, but I'm just trying to be, you know, a good Samaritan and what have you when I can. My approval is very good, and the character is happy, and Halsin could easily be convinced by me. Meanwhile, for Code, he's just, you know, he's got no
You've had more moments of like interacting with cutscenes and stuff like that that's giving you more chances to get the love.
Nah, you've been wanting to talk to Halsin every chance you get. Meanwhile, Mommy, Karlak, and look at this. My relationship is very good, and when we went to like the Dryad to be like, oh, like, you know, relationship thingies, I was able to be there for the tiefling, and we were able to have like our, oh, are we connected and sitch? And then meanwhile, Ko tried to do that with Halsin, and Halsin's just like, no thanks.
No, he didn't say no thanks. I could, because we weren't far enough in the alignment chart. No, because I wasn't far enough in the alignment chart, it wouldn't give me the response to do it.
It sounds like Halsin wasn't interested.
Don't make me kill your dummy, mummy.
Don't you dare.
I will do it. Oh, there's a cave over here.
Huh?
There's a passageway just over here.
Okay. Oh yeah, and we didn't go in through there. Where does it lead?
These pouches are all dead people.
Oh my gosh, what's YY doing? I thought it's the same as zebra, but I looked just now. It means young, but not smart. You started
there's
playing
a note
DayZ. Oh, good for you, YY. I know Bookie is in the middle of playing DayZ with my old housemate. Here I was worried my housemate would like never have good interactions with furries, and the next thing I learn is like, oh, like, you know, one of them is like a huge fan of DCS, and then the next one is like a DayZ fan, and next thing I know, he's in fucking like voice chats in my Discord server with other furries, and they're like, yeah, we're playing DayZ together, and I'm like, the fuck is this? You've never wanted to be in the DC before.
I've read the note here.
Oh, what note?
Boss, I found out they're on a poor schmuck. This isn't from the stash. I'm not Van. I know the rules. So there's something. There's a ring as well.
Ooh.
I'll take the ring. And some spice. Oh, some spicy pork sausage. Spicy pork sausage. Huh. Looks like there's some stolen stuff around here. Daggers. Oh, I failed a perception check. Oh, there's a dead guy hanging up, and he's got a note. seems like Van needed to be reminded that you don't take from the stash. The stash is mine, and you get what I give you. I find you taking from the stash, you'll end up like Van. Be smart, don't be like Van.
This place is hungry for blood.
Alrighty. Easy. Tail sucking when? We're not sucking any tails, unnamed. This is.
I'm tempted to. I'm tempted to. What you get? What you get? What you get?
Boots. Evasive instincts. You have +1 bonus to armor class and saving throws as long as you're not wearing armor or holding a shield. Me. Refined. Oh no. Armor. Okay, I'm wearing light armor, but you're wearing like nothing, aren't you? Like you're wearing clothing.
Yeah, I'm wearing clothing.
Okay, so this would work for you then.
Because like one of my boots do. When you burn an enemy, yeah, 2 heat. Bone spike boots. Yeah, that might do for now. Probably a little bit better than what I've got.
And then we have all these kinds. Valley with brook. Forgot.
I'm gonna. Oh, you already checked the chat. You already checked.
It was.
Wanted to have a look.
It was a gem, 200 pieces, and a necklace.
Wanted to have a look. Okay, yeah, there's something down here. Hang on, whoa. Let me give us all Featherfall first before you jump down like an idiot.
There's a cracked rock here, so we can just find out.
Oh. Could have told me that before I did Featherfall. Yeah.
Lol.
Daft
Where's
numpty.
Play Daisy 2? You want with me? I am newbie. Do you play in Oceania servers? You play D servers but could do Oceania. Oh my god, there's flirting in my chat. There's gamer flirting in my chat between YY and Bookie being like, "Oh, we could play games together."
A map pointing to a secret breach in the wall of Worm's Rock Fortress. It looks like it could lead to the prison. From there, the inside of the fortress itself.
I'll take that.
Could be useful.
Alright. Nope, that's not what
There's
I
a
wanted to do.
boat, silk route.
I can't get on the boat. Ooh, there's a... Oh, that's multi-cheese. Smuggler's Manifesto. Manifesto, please. The rules. Don't forget. Stick to the Sword Coast if you don't want to trigger an all-out war and draw attention to the higher-ups of the council. Number 2. Cookie from Bookie, once again. No backstabbing, no ratting, no stealing from each other. Number 3. You get what you're given. No skimping off the top. Trust that you will get your share. Number 4. Highest value goods come first. Don't go shuffling bread if there's a jewel rush. We're not a bakery. Keep the camp tidy. We don't want anyone following a trail of gold back to us. Alright, cool. Sounds like a
understandable
pirate code nonsense. Shame we can't, like,
well,
use the
I mean,
boat.
you do need... I mean, in a situation like this, you need to be able to... you need to be able to make sure that your tracks are being covered. And by keeping things tidy, it's the best way to keep everything covered.
Okay. Alright. Looks like that's it for the cave. They're kind of... Oh, yeah, I guess the boat is like a second exit. So it's just more of that boat nonsense. We were already, like, walking around this particular boat, so...
So it looks like, yeah, we're at the back end of the Worm Crossing. And not far from the Open Hand Temple.
Investigate... Caress, find boss. Okay, so we got like... So I'm guessing we have to go to the Charess's Caress. And then over here is...
Yeah, whereabouts is that? I don't see it.
So...
Yeah, but are the gnomes who I think they could be?
Yeah, I think it is the gnomes that you think they can be, so let's not fuck around with it. No, do not make a custom marker. I'm gonna teleport to the south span of Worm Crossing.
Yeah, I was gonna teleport over there too.
Alrighty, let's see how we go.
Ah, safe, my love. I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you.
Look at you. exhausted.
Frago's Flophouse.
I don't mind. Honestly.
Yeah?
Fish caught this morning. What'll it be?
So, where boots are you?
Here. Alright, Alright, no
Come
real...
back soon.
I mean, he's got really nothing there that's
He's
worth
just
looking at.
He's just a fishmonger.
It's your birthday. You just.
Butter. Oh, honey. Yes, we should stock up.
There's a lot of people.
Honey is a luxury. You don't need honey.
Velson.
No, he's got art and dyes. That's about it. Black and azure dye? Ooh.
So many people here.
It depends on the person. I'd recommend 2 doses.
Where are you? You up there?
I'm making my way up here.
Do you not wish to pleasure
So
your
many
fine
people
lady
here, it's fucking
to
insane.
feel her fingers?
Oh, we can just pulsing through here.
Where is this place?
Okay, this is Shares's caress.
Alright, so we gotta
hey,
find. There's the elephant.
Sleuth of Hell. I think there's more than one
Another case
element.
closed, another bottle open.
Oh no, it's the same guy.
Start of Valeria! Hang on a tick. I recognize that face. You were talking to Yanis after I left the temple. I'll bet she's put you up to something.
I'll
Look at a
bet.
cute little elephant.
I'm afraid so. I found new evidence, investigator.
Why must you busybodies insist on interrupting a perfectly good night? I know that
trailing his
look.
words there.
You remind me of Devella. Fine. If you doubt my conclusions, out with it. What have you found?
A group of shape-shifting assassins were under the temple, along with more murder
While
victims.
that is startling, it still doesn't disprove my theory that Brilgor killed Father Logan, does it? That's what you need if you want to change my mind. Hard evidence.
I mean, speaking with the corpse should be hard evidence.
I spoke with
Why
Father
was
Logan's corpse.
That doesn't make sense. Why would this dwarf? I want something compelling. Hard,
I
tangible.
have found the murder weapon.
That's quite the discovery. Doesn't tell me everything, though. Why was Logan killed?
Could be to do with how he was helping the refugees.
Could doesn't quite cut it here. Come back when you've got some real evidence.
What? Ass.
Okay, what more do we need other than the actual murderer?
Like, maybe they want us to figure out, like, why the ritual was happening there or something? I don't know. Or find... Because if they're shapeshifters, maybe...
It could have something to do with her.
Who's her?
You know, tall, dark, and wants to stab you in the throat with whatever she's got on hand.
She's not dark. She's like very lightly. She's like very light, grossy kind of shapeshifter skin.
You get the joke I'm trying to imply here on this.
Bruised. You come for sustenance. A mien cool as ice. A sturdy dwarf. A leather whip. She gives.
No, she's got thief supplies.
Talk about this.
Sweeting, are you? It's. Well, we've other ways to.
Wait, what were they talking about?
They're
What were
talking,
they-
about,
wait,
they're
wait, wait.
talking about like stupid, like silly, what's-a-mahoozy? Oh, cookie for Onyx, by the way. All right, so let's have a little peek in there. I'm trying to find the. Hang on.
Isn't right.
Look who it is. Hi, Masonic. Look who it is. It's Corilla.
Damn, Hoots.
Oh, it is too.
New batch burns stronger than a pit fiend's fist.
I'll take that as a compliment.
You
Take it
betcha.
however you want. But I'll be having my usual from now on.
Isn't that Raphael's?
Yeah. Deal with the devil. There it is.
It's Raphael's favorite misadventurer. Good to see you again, even if you have put me out of pocket. The boss bet me 5 soul coins you'd reach the city in one piece.
Nice.
He rented a room upstairs in the hope that you'd drop by.
What does he want with me?
He wants to help you save the world. What else? Take your time. Have a drink. Sample the goods. Go see him when you're feeling refreshed.
Not right
I think
now.
let's focus.
We're trying to solve a murder, thank you very much. Oh, wow, the thingamadiggy was not that far away. Alright.
Pulling all-nighters to keep...
Don't draw any trouble on old Enthal. He acts like he's up for it, but he's retired for a reason.
Who the fuck are you talking to?
Well, I thought this was... oh, this must be a weapons store right here.
Children in.
Jahira sent me, I'm to meet some Harpers here.
Give me a mo, I'm going to be open.
Alright, I'll just do a trade thing. I won't do the rest of the mission for this one.
Yep, cool. Because I reckon there is something we're missing.
Alright, don't go too far in. Let me have a look here and I'll come back over to you. Hide armor, bonus to initiative,
If you can
disadvantage on stealth checks. Garb of the land and sky. Mountainous poise. While using patient defense, you also benefit from the effect of blade ward. Breeze swift speed. While using the step of the wind, your next attack roll has advantage and deals additional 184. So this would be a nice one for you. It's a monk's garb.
Looks like.
Do you want me to grab it?
If you can,
nothing
yeah.
here, that's for sure.
Horns of the Berserker. You gain plus 2% bonus to attack rolls when attacking creatures that are already taking damage. Bloodthirst. Unarmed and melee attacks deal an additional 2 necrotic damage as long as you don't have full health. If you don't have any damage taken, oh, okay, no, not really. Not really. That's about taking some damage for that one.
Okay, so...
Alright, I'll get that for you.
And then
I've got some stuff I need to get rid of.
And this is a secret area. So you're just in Sharar's, like, caress or whatever it's called, getting all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm not too far. I'll make my way back over to you in a second.
Alrighty then. I'm just looking for... Hi there, Dekus! Hope the night is well. It's just getting started. We're trying to solve a murder here.
A murder, most fail.
A murder, most fail.
Alright, so that's an area where we go with,
Just another crate.
Okay, so whereabouts are you?
I'm back in Center Camp.
Stay there and I'll come to you.
So... Traveler's Chest. Hi there, Where Barista. Welcome to the stream.
So I'm loading. Hey, old barista! Jason, can I get you to give a shout out to Where Barista, please?
He already did.
Oh, you already did?
He already did.
Good
He saw
job.
Where Barista. I'm not 100% on whether it's a good idea or not, but he saw Where Barista do a redeem, and he was like, oh, we'll give him a shout out. And I was like, Because sometimes people might be just interested in lurking and such like that, and it's only when they, pipe up that I might be like, oh, let's do a hellos.
Yeah.
So.
But Barista's a good bean, deserves a shout out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. How goes the aughts?
I actually, Barista just posted something in the Discord just before.
Okay.
Whereabouts are you? I seem to have lost your location.
So you... Hang on. Dink. So you want to try and get to, like, the open hand, like, church. Remember how there was, like, a cellar in the kitchen?
So I'm making my way down there. So you've gone a bit far away from me, and I'm like, okay, whereabouts am I going?
Sorry about that.
No, you're all good. You're all good. I think I've found the other way around.
Piece of water.
It was there was another way over the back end, wasn't there?
Yeah. All right, so it's
Looks empty.
Okay, map. Okay, I'm gonna go to Rivington. I'm gonna make my way over through the. I'm gonna take the long way, the right way around.
because this is the hide completed stuff. Boulder's Gate. Solve the open hat. We spoke with Janissa and discovered that the crime scene below is connected to Father Logan's murder. What the key unlocks, however, is still a mystery.
So that's what we've got to find. We've got to find whatever that key unlocks. Could we talk to the corpse again to see if maybe there might be something we can ask about the key?
We've already opened. Hang on, makeshift source. Does this do anything? It's got. So there's all this iconography.
Let me see about talking to the corpse again and seeing if we can't get something out of him.
Like, so there's the carved rock there. And then.
Where the chuff am I? Where am I? Why am I halfway through the ground?
I don't know.
That was weird. I was halfway through the ground. Alright. Now, do I have Speak with Dead here? I do.
Rufflesome Blaggart hat. Okay. A bucket. A stool.
Ah, corpse can no longer speak. Crap. Logan's chest key. Did you take the Logan's chest key from the thingo?
I believe so. It's probably in my like little.
No, I just picked it up just then.
Oh.
I'm here.
Where's Logan's office again?
Look at you. You're exhausted. You've been pulling all-nighters to keep warm.
There must be an office for the man somewhere around here.
Don't bother.
Why are you all the way back in the city?
I'm just talking to anyone.
Bloody ages we spent hiking from Murren. And they won't let us in the city proper. Bollocks. We're adventurous, damn it. You're damn right. I can't believe... The bridge god chatted some shite about,
Hang on. Don't go clicking too much, because I get dragged in your cutscenes too, don't forget.
Oh, hello. Traveler Briska?
Word to the wise. Give that ill-mated temple a wide berth. Rude buggers. Certainly not bringing my trade there again.
I thought priests were meant to be polite.
So did I. They wouldn't let me in. Spouted some tripe about my sort and absolutist murderers. I only wanted to sit down a minute. Let me show you.
Oh yeah, I gotta give you that armor too, I found. Grant, are you
I bought for all the shit. Don't worry, I had gold. Flophouse rules. Fold sheets need across oh my god, that is... Oh.
Okay, that's the front of the church.
I don't.
Honestly.
How goes the search? Assassins under this temple is certainly unnerving news. Thank you for taking care of them. You're on the right track. Please, keep looking.
How does she know we're on the right track?
Because we're trying to find information.
Bloomin' hell, you look
So, Father Yanis... Hang on, there are some chests down here on the ground.
That should do ya.
I wonder if... No, none of them can be opened.
Good. Oh, apologies.
Hi, Benru.
Thought you were someone else. Greetings, so forth, so on.
Oh my god. Dash Kent Molliver. I'm looking, and here's my response. I'm looking for a killer, a dwarf, dressed in red, just like you.
How dare you? Accusing an upstanding citizen like me of being a dwarf? I'd have thought you knew your own kind. I'm a halfling, you oaf?
Yeah, he didn't say no to... Is he attacking you?
No, he isn't. Hey, Incineroar! Just wanted to come in and watch your stream and remind you that you're a good bean. Yay, thank you! I like to think I'm a good bean sometimes. Although
He's a very good bean.
I am a dumb bean sometimes.
Yeah, but dumb beans can still be good beans.
I
There's
left
nothing saying that...
groceries on the counter for like an entire night.
No! Oh, please tell me there was nothing frozen in amongst it.
Just ready-cooked meals. But I fucked up like what's
Oh,
Mahoozy? Like
no.
that's basically
Please
like my weekend of food.
Please tell me you were able to get to them beforehand.
No. Holy
Oh,
shit.
no.
Those don't look normal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They've got red eyes. Alright, whereabouts are you? Let me come to you before you do something stupid.
Trim, Rosanna, Benru.
Just stay right there. Do not move. Okay, apparently I can't get to you because wherever you are, I can't get to.
That shapeshifter's key unlocked the door. Interesting.
Hang on. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where the hell are you?
I am in the... Hang on. So I went to Frygo's Flop House. So if you,
Okay,
if you
okay,
go
I
from,
see you.
like,
I
the
see you
south
right
span
there.
of Worm, and then you go like all the way up here to like... So you go up a set of stairs, and then up a ladder, and then there's just a... How was I supposed to get here without just randomly clicking on shit? Oh, there's some temple plans here. And there's some torn parchment, and stained parchment, and a disguise kit. There's all kinds of shit here. Oh, that's cool! I love the flexing emote, Ware Barista. I've got 2 new animated emotes myself. These are my 2 animated emotes. It's just like me arriving. I'm just like, hi there. And then there's me smug. They were done by Emu Fur, and I love it. Are you here yet?
Hang on, hold up. I was able to jump up, but I can't get Halcyon to jump up.
You know you could just, go inside, right?
Confuses me for a member of staff.
Okay, I'm trying to go inside, but there's no way to get inside.
It's...
Oh, there's a door down here.
Yeah, it's down there.
Why is the door down here?
Because the sign is right there. I honestly can't take him anywhere, can I?
Hey, says you.
Look, I am totally fine, alright? Ooh.
I got a level up.
Scrolls. A Guide to Avernus. Bloodstained notes. 2 hands, now 2 hands. 2 of them. More needed. Not enough. Must cover myself in glory. To be covered in blood. More.
A list of names. Father Lorgan's on here.
Notice some blood has pooled on the wooden floor.
Try to discern the source of blood. Why do I fuck
Come on, roll over. Come on, come on. Aww. Try again. You can do it.
There we go.
You notice the blood's source. A body hidden under the bed.
Okay, let's see who it is.
Freon gold grind. With Fifion's key to the best of wives and mothers. I think she had like a chest downstairs.
Corpse in the tunnels.
She had a chest downstairs or something. Oh, ghastly bottles and things. And
There's a traveler's chest over here.
There's temple plans over here.
These tunnels were full of shapeshifters. Father Lorgan's name is written here too.
Disguise kit. What's on the...
These tunnels were full of shapeshifters. Father Lorgan's
Whoa!
name here too.
Scarlet leather armor. Stealthy. Gain stealth bonus checks.
Oh. Nice. Oh, that's cool. I like Yislith some flexing things.
Oh, hang on. Also, there's that armor I meant to give you, too. Boop. Handed it over to you.
Oh, mine was a cloth as well. I could have worn that. Shit. I could have worn the boots. I like my nimbleness.
Yeah, but I think it's your arms that are lightweight, that are light armor. Your flawed hell dust gloves.
No, they're just gloves.
I mean, do you want the boots? You can have them.
I'd like the boots, please.
Oh, you want to take my boots? Fine, have the boots.
Yes, thank you. I didn't mean to, like, you know... There's plenty of boots back at camp. And I can give you I can give you these boots. Oh wait, no, I still want these boots because they give me additional damage equal to my wisdom to unarmed. God damn it.
But those boots were made for walking, and that's just what they'll do.
Okay, so I get the same amount. When using patient defense, you also benefit from... What is patient defense? Against...
I thought those were skills that you might have. I think maybe they were skills you didn't choose from.
Focusing on avoiding attacks. Attack rolls against the affected enemy have disadvantage, and the entity has advantage on dexterity saving throws. I'll need to double check if I have those. Heat resistance against bludgeoning. Jumping no longer requires... Oh yeah, I think I have Step of the Wind. Has advantage and it deals an additional force. Okay.
Now I have Wall of Fire!
Woo! How do I get this, like...
So you said there was a chest downstairs with her name on it, right?
I thought there was.
Let me have a look. What was her name? Wooden chest. Oh, here it is.
Hang on. I'm getting down the stairs. I'm going down the stairs. Hi there, Het. Yep, you grabbed it from there. Cool.
Just think. Soon we'll...
Okay, there was nothing in there.
After all this time.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah, I already chose the chest.
Those two talked about like going out in the sun and shit.
They're vampires.
All right, I'm gonna get. Okay, granted, it's probably not the best thought, but if they're vampires, that means maybe because in Baldur's Gate, Astarion.
Yeah.
Astarion. Ooh, I can just right-click and click talk. A fine addition to my collection. God damn you, Flu.
It can't have been easy for Lae'zel to stand up to Vlaakith like that. But there's nothing that sounds boring. Oh, fine. I'll be...
Eating dirt.
Alright, where did Asterion go?
Yeah.
There he is. There's the stealthy man.
Yeah, go grab the vampire twin.
No, it's not over yet. Masters, lead on.
Hey, he can level up.
Careful, I might.
What did we needed him to be?
Crap, I have completely forgotten. What's his level at the moment? He's level...
He's going up to level 9. Give me a second.
Hang on.
So, I think I know the guide you're using. So, 1,
Boop.
So 2, 3...
It's from the gamer. I've got it, hang on, level... what's his current? So, 5 in Warrior, 4... so we want to give him Rogue again, so that we can get Uncanny Dodge.
No. So he's 4 in both. So he's 5. He goes 5.
Oh yeah. So we want 5. Yeah.
Which gives him the extra attack. Is that it? Yeah, that's it.
Because we want 5 in fighter, and then we want 4 rogue, 5 rogue, 6 rogue, 7 rogue.
All right, and right now he's wearing. Add your full dexterity. Creatures have disadvantage on saving when using attacks. Gloves of power. Boots of genial striding. Hey, this is where the invisibility ring went. And then he's currently wielding like King of the Thingamadigi and the Justicar Scimitar. He's wearing like a lot of crazy nonsense. There we go. Alrighty. Leave comp.
I found so many. No one would ever miss.
Oh, he's got something to say as well.
Already?
Still alive. So that's progress.
Baldur's Gate is right over the hills. And so is Cazador. And we are no closer to knowing why that bastard is so obsessed with getting me back.
You have any more leads?
I think we should track down my fellow Spawn. I'm not exactly looking forward to a reunion, but perhaps they'll know something.
Which is probably who those two are.
Most likely with the red crazy eyes and what have you.
I imagine they'll be coming for me in the night if I don't.
Coming. Where would the other Spawn be?
Unless Cazador's changed their order, we should get to them first.
Oh,
there they are.
There they are. Petra and Del Rio.
Try not to skip talking, by the way.
I will remember this.
If we're late for his black mass.
Soon, sister.
That wasn't me skipping
We
them.
only need one more mark.
We have enough for the master. No more needed.
It's not for the master, it's for me. I spent 100 years eating rats and dogs, but soon I'll be able to feast.
You ever heard of the
I
artist?
want someone there, ready for me.
No, I have
Once
not.
the mass is done and our Lord grants us freedom, I can celebrate by drinking them dry.
Cazador promised you your freedom, and you believed him. You were never burdened with intelligence, Petras. But your load seems especially light these days.
Astarion! It cannot be.
Oh, that's no way to welcome back a brother, doll. Didn't you miss me?
I understand he's trying to be like all like, you know, like high and mighty, but like he is not in the attire for it. I'm gonna hold my tongue on this one.
Isn't it obvious, sister? He wants to ascend with the rest of us. He heard about the ritual and the power our master will grant us. So he came back with his tail between his legs, hoping all would be forgiven.
You always were an idiot, Petras.
Oh. Oh, that's a very... He's just
Why does
at a
Cazador
window.
need me? What is he planning?
Talk or burn, your choice.
Stop. Well, that was a critical fail.
I say let it roll.
She never liked following orders, brother.
Hi, everyone! Purple! Hi, welcome! Moo Raid. Oh. There's a thingy-majiggy hiving. Sup, bish?
Hello, Purple.
Hello.
How you doing?
Welcome, everyone! My name is Grant. I'm a variety himbo streamer. It's Friday night for me, which means it is D&D night, and we're going through Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm joined with my friend, Code the Yoshi.
G'day, g'day.
So, the two of us have been going through this since, like, when did this first come out? Like, August?
Yeah, I think around then.
Yeah, so once a week, well, or at least we try to at least once a week. Thank you so much for the follow, Captain Prowa.
When work doesn't, like, fuck me over with shifts on Fridays.
Yeah, that. So we get together, like, once a week, and we go through Baldur's Gate 3, like a D&D night, and it's been fairly fun. We've arrived in Act 3 right now, so, like, you know, we're just outside Baldur's Gate 8 at this point. Excuse me. And we're, like, trying to solve a murder, we're trying to meet up with all kinds... There's a lot of plot lines right now going off, and right now we're kind of following a little bit of the fact that Astarion is being chased after by Cazador, his old master, and we are now trying to like figure out why that is and such. So we found one of his like underspawns or spawnlings or whatever the fuck, but they didn't really explain to us much besides the involvement of a ritual, which apparently will let them walk in the sun or something like that.
Or so they believe. I have high doubts that's going to be the case.
They'll warn him we're coming.
And they'll be trembling in fear when they tell him.
So this is Astarion. Ignore the staff.
They have no choice but to do Cazador's bidding.
Seeing more artists appear on trace. Oh yeah, Purple Pardis is an artist. So yeah.
Still though,
she does some really great booby art. She's wow. If I had a nickel for a VTubing bovine with big boobies drawing art on Twitch, I'd have 2 nickels.
Oh, that's right, because you'd have one for Purple and one for brain is working. It's on dial-up speed.
Mutasaur.
Mutasaur, thank you.
Mutasaur is the Australian one. Purple Pardis is the US one. You drew all your all of them? All of them? She drew all emotes. Damn.
Good work.
Nice work. I don't have too many.
I'm less cool because emotes. I mean, who is cool? Who is cool, honestly?
You're a furry that gets to draw really cool art, and you've gone to the level of, like, I can draw a Dakimakura. Like, that's already fairly cool. Don't throw things at me, Code.
Throw things? How do you know it's me?
It says right there, Code the Yoshi.
No,
it's something.
It could have been another Code the Yoshi. You never know.
It could have been another one, you're saying. Doubt it.
Yeah, it could have been another one. You never know.
A living vampire.
You never know.
What of it? You can already walk in the sun.
Yes, but only because of the parasite. This would be true freedom. Freedom from the hunger. Freedom to live a real life in the sun. No tadpole required. And if I were to ascend instead of him, freedom from Cazador, once and for all.
Unless it's all a lie.
It doesn't feel like a lie. It feels like exactly the kind of power Cazador would chase. I have to know. I have to face him.
Okay, I'm for that one of, like, you know, facing your tormentors and what have you.
Oh yeah.
I'm not for the idea of, like, oh, he's trying to do, like, some crazy ritual thing. I will take over on the crazy ritual thing. I'm just like, we don't know. We don't know if it'll work, and we don't know if you'll, like, not get corrupted or some shit.
You're a true friend.
Me and Grant both deserve all the follows because our titties grow massive. Ooh, Fun fact.
Hey.
We can take the hunt to Cazador.
I have a thingy-majiggy I've been working on.
Let's go.
Where's my thingies? There's my thingies. And then there's the bigger redeem, and then June.
My titties grow massive too, given the right situations.
Check this. Hang on a second. Check this shit out. Ding, duplicate. Ding dong. Watch this shit. You ready? You ready for this? Ding, dong, and then. Bam! Unfortunately, it's not perfect, because as you can see, they're like really squished together.
Holy shit, those are some airbags! Glad I wasn't sitting in front of those. I would have been flown off the screen. Would have been just like those things would have gone off, and I'd be doing the whole,
like,
you know,
smooth them. Like, hold on a second. Let's do like 0.1 of a second. So this is 0.1 of a second. We're just like boom, ding, ding, dong. So yeah, so I need to like ask unnamed, because unnamed, they're the ones that did the whole booby thing. Like, actually, let me do a clip shout out. I wonder if it will pop up. Unnamed. Here we go.
It's like, if those things had hit me when you did that, it would have been fucking Smash Brothers, just fucking go.
Damn. But yeah, look at this hyena.
You're my baby.
He got boobies.
There, you can't even watch the game. You don't need to watch the game, right? Hello?
So yeah, that top and those boobies, they get like bigger.
Oh,
like
I'm surprised
not
those
just
spaghetti
a little
strings
bigger,
didn't
but
snap.
like a lot bigger.
Come on.
Look at
But
that.
yeah, I'm amazed those spaghetti strings, you know, just didn't snap right off when that shirt was there.
We'll do 3D. It's 3D, like, you know, programming nonsense. Okay, like.
I'm making a joke.
Yeah, I mean.
By the way, you now no longer have a shirt on. By the way.
God damn it, furry cures.
it was like, now look at me. Now back to that. Now back to me. Now back to that. Now I have no longer a shirt on.
Hello. So we can just have giant tits. Amazing. Would totally be bound for that. Oh, hi there, Jerry. Sorry I didn't say hello to you sooner for the Isn't a Poor Village to Plunder. Damn it, Twitch raids. There were so many people that came from the raid. Purple, thank you so much again for the raid. If you need to, like, unwind, go to the bathroom, get some sleep, shower, or what have you, you're more than welcome to do that. Don't feel too compelled to, like, stick around. If you are in, like, speaking of the collab thingy-majiggy, Saturday evenings for me, the first Saturday of the month, I organize, like, what's called a party game stream. And in March, it's gonna be Monster Hunter Worlds. I'm gonna, like, because I don't normally have too many people coming to my party game streams, thankfully. So, like, the hard limit of Monster Hunter Worlds, like 16 players and 4-player parties, I think works out perfectly for
I'll definitely be there, that's for sure.
Yeah, see, Code will be there. Code will be
there. You guys can see me get eaten by big giant monsters.
I don't think there's a vor thingy-majiggy in. What if there's a vor thingy-majiggy in Monster Hunter Wilds?
Oh, you haven't run into Perry the Kaiju Platypus in Rise then?
No, I have not. I didn't know there was a Perry the Platypus in Rise.
So there's a monster in Rise, which is just basically a giant fuck off platypus. And one of his abilities is he will actually somewhat sort of eat you and then spit you out. And then he'll sit on you. Oh no, wait, this is the flop house. This is the wrong place. I've gone the wrong direction. We need to go back to the other place. Where was that? Sword Coast Couriers. Whereabouts? Oh, actually, has that guy gotten back up? There's a letter dropped in the blood.
Hang on. I'll check it out then. Because I was gonna do like another look-see. Let's see if there was anything I missed. So... shabby...
Read.
Smoke.
A written note in blood. The parchment is cheap and smells of faintly iron and smoke. How I soured and salted the smith in front of you, and yet you dared not devour him? You will not let his bittered meat spoil, not when Baal could say, oh god, she took him when we knocked him out.
Take the make them offering in name, bring their something to the try, prove your worth, become something of the highest accord.
These tunnels were full of shapeshifters.
Doesn't really help.
No.
No, that doesn't help either. Oh, bloodstained note. Hang on a second. Now that's just talking about 2 hands. So we've checked Goldwyn. Cover. Ooh, surgery kit. Is there really nothing else here? Ghastly bottles, bookshelf. Oh, shelf. Let's see if there's anything here.
Oh, what's this guy?
Killed Angie. Who's Angie? In Monster Hunter, is there like a... Who's Angie?
Oh, damn, I love her design.
Sorry.
Ooh.
Yes. You're right.
Look at her coloration.
It's cool. I love the gold with the little like green to him.
I'm guessing that she's a bronze dragon, but with green dragon ancestry.
Ooh, that would be cool. That's cool.
Yes, that's him. He's usually the first one in, but he's not shown up today. It's not the same without the sound of his bellows in the back.
Oh, I think he's dead.
He tells the best stories.
That's the smith that was taken over by the other girl.
He's still alive, actually.
Oh, short.
Because he was like knocked out and shit.
He's dedicated.
No, she came back and ate him.
Do you know he's won Best Smith in Rivington 7 years in a row?
No idea. Okay, so another traveler's chest up here. Another traveler's chest here.
Okay, what have we got? Half plate, splint plate, stalker gloves. You gain seldom caught unawares. You gain +1 bonus to initiative rolls.
You're
Skullduggery.
You're checking out more of the stuff, aren't you?
Yep. Your sneak attacks deal additional 1.4 force damage. That'd be a good one for Asterion.
Just gonna.
Plate armor, leather, bone spike garb. Oh, slab jaw determination. You gain 15 temporary hit points whenever you rage.
That would be good. Look at those
exoskeleton. Yep. You gain reduce all incoming damage by 2 when the wearer is struck by melee attack. The attacker takes 2 piercing damage. Ooh, damn! It's pricey though. It's 2,000. Grant, you're gonna have to come over here and work your magic to grab it.
I will figure that out another time. I'm just trying to. Hang on a second. I have like a section for keys, don't I? Hang on. Type. And then. Okay, so the key isn't here.
Yeah. So the bellows out back here. So you know that guy you had to knock out who was pissed off that he thought you were the one that knocked him out beforehand and dragged him into the cellar?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I found the bloody message.
Oh.
And a pool covered in blood.
Better be cautious. Oh, my hand slipped.
So she's taken him. And most likely killed him.
Oh, shit. That's annoying. there really no other...
Moving in.
And then there was all the stuff there that really didn't have anything else to it. This is a weird murder mystery, I'm gonna be real with you.
Maybe go back and talk to Thinger now that we've got that evidence.
Alright, I'll give it a try. Back in the brothel we go.
It's the only thing I can think of. Hang on. Whereabouts you at?
Heading to Sharess's Caress. To talk to the Whatsamahuzi again.
Hang on. I thought I was there, but I must have gone the wrong direction.
You went somewhere else. You went to the blacksmith place.
I presume you found something interesting to discuss?
I found another body.
Interrupting me. You're telling me I need hard...
Don't skip. I don't skip.
Why would someone else kill Lorgan? How can we be sure it wasn't Brilgor? It was the height of arrogance.
Alright, let's go back to the church and speak to the people over there.
Yep, alrighty.
They might have some information. Or have you spoken to the gnome in the red about that?
Give me a second then. I'll have a chat with him. Let's see what he says.
It is you. Most definitely not anyone else. Salutations and hello and whatnot.
He knows something.
Found a dwarf's corpse hidden up right upstairs.
Oh dear. A dwarf, you say? Theon. One of Mamselle's girls from Sharess's Caress. Been gone for a 10-day. Smiled as wide as the wide, but twice as sunny. You don't suppose the murderer...
You okay?
Oh.
Yeah, I was just having a drink.
Oh, okay. It sounded like a very wet kiss or something like that.
No, I was drinking.
I was just like, what was that noise? It just sounded like it was just like a...
No, I was drinking my Coke.
Weird way of drinking your Coke.
Says the man who sits there and goes glug, glug, glug from every bottle he drinks from.
Well, yeah, but that's... You know I'm drinking a bottle, don't you? There's no question about it. Okay, hang on. So, Dink, solve the Open Hand Temple murder. We discovered the crime scene below the Open Hand Temple is connected to Father Logan's murder. We've investigated the crime scene. We found a trail of blood. Gather... Like... Find the lock to fit the flower key. Am I just gonna have to be a bit of a dick and be like, I want to know what the flower key opens?
Yeah, so we have to figure that out. So that's what we need to find. Where does that key go? That's why I'm thinking there's got to be something here. Maybe an office or a door we haven't been able to access yet. A hidden entryway, perhaps?
Wait, do you have the key?
I've got the key.
Okay, can you, like, hover over its description or something? Hang on a sec, that also reminds me, I should probably...
Hang on, it should be in my key lot. Here we go, flower key. This key, spattered with blood, inscribed with the address of Fargo's Flophouse in Worms Crossing.
Okay, so that's why... We're here, and then so we'd go here.
Okay, so there must be something in the flop house.
Yeah.
Wait, she worked at the flop house, didn't she?
We went upstairs. There's the blood-stained parchment.
Oh, what if there was a
Wait,
door?
do you still have the blood-stained parchment?
Hang on. Whoop, 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 whoop. Bundle of letters, one postman, bloodstained parchment.
Okay, you go and talk to the winged Whatsamahuzi.
Okay, whereabouts is he? He's Sharess's Caress. Okay, here we are.
This way.
Okay, I'm going up. Yep, I found it.
Exactly. Pleasure isn't just... You have the key to my heart.
So yeah, you go talk to him this time.
I put it on especially for you. I think we've done something.
Another case closed, another bottle open.
Huzzah! Huzzah! Thank you for letting me lurk out. Saw you in Rickers VR stream and wanted to pop in for a bit. Hi there, Aaron. Not to worry. I wish I could do VR more often, but I'm a busy, tired Zeebs a lot of the time.
Why must you busybodies insist?
Have you done VR shitcode recently?
I have not done any VR stuff at the moment. I am waiting on updates on my model, although I possibly, at the moment, might be getting a new model a little later on in the year.
Something more Dino, less Yoshi?
She's posted in the lower city.
Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. Look, I am curious what would your, what would be a new dinosaur if it's not a Yoshi?
Okay, so I've got the same answer. I haven't found anything of note.
The height of
Okay, give me the...
Okay.
Can you give me the note then? Like...
Hang on, let me have a look.
Like,
let me just,
read it? Because you just picked it up, right?
Yeah. Messy splattered, deep red, brown, adorned with scrap parchment. Those wishing to face Dreadlord's tribunal and enter the Temple of Baal must slay the targets on the list and frame the corpses as a murder by the cult of the Absolute. Bring the victim's hand as proof of killing. Walk in blood, aspirant. So, Duke Belaine killed.
I presume you found something interesting to discuss. If you're...
Dunk, let's see.
I presume you found something
there we
interesting
go.
To discuss. If
Father Lorgan's murder is just one part of a bigger plot. A Baal plot.
A Baal plot? You as well? Devella's been harping on about Baal for months. Fancies herself something of an expert. I assumed it was just a bunch of conspiracy codswallop and fear.
This guy's a shitty detective. Or he could actually be a good detective for all we know,
about
but,
this one.
you know,
Even
we
for
just gave him
her.
the missing piece.
Fine. I'll bite. What's your theory?
Alright. It's not a theory, I have proof. The document contains information.
No need to wave documents at me. I'm already drowning in paperwork as it is. Constable Devella is going to be a real pain in the trunk about this. Since you seem to be on an obnoxiously similar wavelength, why don't you seek her out?
This guy's a dick.
She'll be at the Elf Song Tavern. Show her the list, and I'll stay and inform the Fist here. Oh, and you'll need this pass. It'll give you access to the lower city.
Oh. That's cool.
Where is he pulling the pass from?
What are you waiting for? You've a bloody
I think it just was like a random animation. Move! Oh, and then there's just a random... Yeah. Alright, well, we solved that one, which is good.
Oh, everyone got a level up.
Oh. Oh, I got a level up! Well, before we do that, there's the What's-a-Mahoozy peeps. Remember how, actually, we should probably... I'm gonna swap out Asterion. And I'm gonna bring, Lae'zel with us because of the Vlaakith thing. I keep saying Vlaakith, but that's not what they are. What are they?
You mean the Githyanki?
Githyanki thing, yes. So I'll dismiss Asterion. Do you mind dismissing Halsin so then that way, or... I'm trying to think. I think it's supposed to stay for a while. Please stay here.
It sounds awful.
Alright, so we're level...
Because I'm trying to think who would be the appropriate people. Because, like, a part of me wants to bring Karlach because of the whole demon thing. But I obviously want to bring Lae'zel for the Githyanki thing.
Yeah, but I feel like Halsin's our best healer, which is...
This is just for conversation. We're not going to go into a fight anytime soon.
Alright. You want me to bring...
It is done.
You want me to bring your Dami Mummy, do you?
Yeah, you can... Yes, please. Yes, please.
Alright, fine. I'll bring your Dami Mummy with you.
Also, you say he's like our best healer. He's not been doing healing.
He has been doing healing. He's got mass... Yes! He's got Healing Word, Cure Wounds, Now he's also got mass healing word.
Has he been doing those things?
Yes.
Maneuvering spin. Deals an additional 1d10. On hit, select which friendly will gain half its movement speed. It will not provoke attacks of opportunity.
But I'll leave him here.
Goading attack. Nice. And then this is me to level up my monk. I am a simple fool. I have just leveled up nothing but monk. Your movement increases by 6 meters while you're not wearing armor or using a shield. You are immune to poison. Oh! Oh! Now I'm immune to poison damage, apparently. Could have been very useful back in Act 2 when we were dealing with nothing but poison from all the different undead. Fucking, like, nauseous cloud. Fuck's sake. Alright, let's get rid of the fist thingy-majiggy and change it to... Gong of the Summit. Actually, is there a... Actually, yeah, let's get rid of Thunderwave and change it to Gong. Damage all nearby made of the... has disadvantage on their saving throw. Yep, cool.
I wonder if there's a good... Hang on, let's have a look. Whoop.
Can we... Okay, hang on a second. I'm gonna... Also, why can't I press escape? Why can't I go into the menu?
No idea.
Oh, are you leveling her up right now or something?
Yeah, I'm just having a quick...
okay, I was wondering what was going on.
Aspect of the tiger. You gain strength modifier. Okay, we'll give it that one.
Alright, so...
we could multi-class her with fighter, which would actually make her actually pretty strong.
We will do no such thing. Where the fuck is... Oh, they're at the other side. Okay, hang on a sec. Alright, sink, thunk. So, we go...
Alright, hang on. Whereabouts? Hang on. Hold up. You left camp, have you?
Yep, I've left camp. Devil's Den. That's a bit on the nose, isn't it? So, I've gone upstairs.
Yep, I'm following. I'm coming to your way now.
Nice.
Hold there before you do anything stupid.
Oh.
You must hear me, devil. I will do whatever it takes. Give you anything you ask.
That is a terrible
idea. There is only one thing in this world that I desire. You do not have it, and you never will.
The Kithrak? What deal would he make with this devil?
That's a good question.
Help me, Raphael.
Also, I think it's a recent... He's recently damaged as well. Like, I don't
yeah, I noticed that look on his face.
Yeah, he didn't have that burn there.
But they want the same thing that you do. And unlike you, they have something of value to offer in return.
McGear.
Yeah, look, he's...
The devil holds the key to freeing the Gith people. Right here, right now.
Did he just dip?
He dipped a bit. Yeah, he did.
Whatever you discuss with this devil, I must hear of it. Find me below in the tap room, once you're loosed from his claws.
I honestly thought
he didn't have those burns on his face before.
Yeah, I honestly thought he was gonna click his fingers for a second there to send him down to the tap room.
Not yet, but to the final reckoning. One more thing before we begin, though.
What? Oh no. What's going on?
I don't know.
For the first time since the Nautiloid, your mind is clear. It's unsettling.
Oh. Did you just cure me of the tadpole? With a click of your fingers.
Wouldn't that be exquisite? But no. I'm afraid the tadpole is still there. But I did shut out your other visitor for a while, so we can enjoy some privacy.
Okay.
The Illithid can't hear us.
Okay, how does he know that was an Illithid?
Probably from the fact that he, like, saw past their illusion or some I don't know. He's a devil. Clever, but when we first met, you promised me a cure. This isn't a cure.
He promised a lot of things.
He promised a lot, and what's more, it's not even
true
promises.
to my
He just said he could do
and
these
I can make
things.
all of this tadpole business go away, which means you and your lovely friends can remain blessedly free of tentacles. Let us speak plain. I'll admit, you've impressed me. I wasn't sure you'd make it this far, but no matter how far you come, you're still on the road to ruin. A road that leads directly to a confrontation with the Elder Brain. At best, it will kill you and everyone else in this city. At worst, it will assimilate you, and you won't have enough free will left to even wish you were dead. You have the key to destroying it in the palm of your hand, though.
The astral prism he's talking about.
Or the Emperor itself.
No, because the Emperor was under the Elder Brain's enthrall.
No, Orpheus.
Yeah, Orpheus is the one that's, like, immune to that shit.
Very perceptive.
Hey!
Yes.
Nice.
I can give you the means to break him free.
Speak, devil. We're listening.
I remember when I was talking to the Emperor about, freeing him and shit, that he was very interested in killing us. Orpheus's guards tried to kill me. He's dangerous.
To Illithids, yes. He would gladly execute the Emperor. But to you, he will be a friend. After all, you're at war with an Elder Brain.
All the evidence I've seen suggests Orpheus is my enemy and the Emperor my ally, or the Emperor is the only reason I'm still alive.
Better call him A, better call him B on that one.
I'm gonna use the evidence word. Because I feel like saying the Emperor is the only reason I'm alive is a very blind, faithy kind of thing, whereas with all the evidence I've seen, makes it sound like as if I'm going...
If I'd realized you were so gullible, I'd have tricked you into selling your soul for a pocketful of beans when we first met.
I think you did.
To the Emperor,
tried.
You are nothing more than a beast of burden, one that will transport it to the Elder Brain. An ox requires food, and the occasional beating to keep it moving. You are simpler. The Emperor's words serve as both carrot and stick.
Perhaps it is true that Orpheus would ally with you against the Elder Brain. But if he proves uncooperative once free, you may have to kill him.
And there's a problem there. If we have to kill him, there's no more us being not Illithid.
That is true. But the thing is that... I wanted him freed is the thing as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I'm not so convinced at the moment. We can probably still try to free him and deal with the Elder Brain, but we've got to find a way to have both of those options available to us that we're not going to turn into tentacled monsters once he does.
Tricky. Jerebi, thank you for the follow.
The Orphic Hammer. An artifact capable of shattering the chains that hold Prince Orpheus is held securely in my House of Hope, even now.
It's very convenient that you have exactly what I need.
Isn't it just? And it's even more convenient that you can give me exactly what I want
the thing.
in return.
If we give him the Astral Prism, then we lose our bargaining chip. Because the thing is that, like, the Astral Prism with Orpheus and the Emperor is why we haven't, like, you know, turned to the Absolute and the Illithid and what have you.
Yeah.
Like, sure, there's a risk in freeing Orpheus, but there's an even greater risk in not being in control of the Prism.
Fine, just tell us what you want.
What are you hoping to get out of all this?
Power. You free Orpheus, and in doing so save the city, the Sword Coast, perhaps the whole world, and your own precious skin too.
Why do you have chicken nuggets, Sir Dragon?
And you give me the crown that dominates the Elder Brain.
That is not saving the world.
And you, Lae'zel of Kalir, want to free the Forgotten Prince, do you not?
I want nothing more.
Then it is settled, is it not? A crown for a hammer. A bargain of a lifetime, Lae'zel of Kalir.
So essentially, we have to kill the Elder Brain anyway to get the crown.
What exactly is the crown?
Power. Ancient and full of wonder. I have craved it ever since the arch-wizard Karsus created it, long centuries ago, and brought doom to the Empire of Netheril.
That's the anti-magic shit.
Of humanity.
That was because, like, fucking Gale was researching this. God damn it! There's
the day it all fell
fucking
apart.
Gale.
Entire cities plummeted from the sky like angels with broken wings.
He's been alive
The
a long
screams.
fucking time.
Oh, the screams. Hundreds of thousands of people watching in horror as the ground came up to meet them. It was not a happy meeting, and Karsus was responsible. Not driven by malice, but by ambition. He forged a crown imbued with all the powers of magic, a crown that would make any who wore it a god. Men cannot contain so much power. The crown destroyed its creator, and his empire fell with him. Karsus's folly, the bards and scholars call it. I call it hope. The hope of creating a better world, and the perils of unchecked hubris. I knew then that the folly of mortals could be the triumph of devils.
Yeah,
and
we're
that I
not
could
giving him that
use
crown.
that
Can you agree on
crown
that?
to unite.
Oh, yeah, no, I completely agree.
Archdevil Supreme. Me.
There's like fallen angels in this, right? Like he's not even the most powerful
Yeah.
of the demons / devils in this.
Well, the thing is, though, is that I think he wants it to win that war at the moment that's going on in Avernus.
Oh yeah, there's a fucking. What makes you think you'd succeed in using the crown where curse is? Why didn't you take the crown there and there? I'll take the crown and use it. The idea of you ruling all 9 hells doesn't fill me with joy.
The hells require order to function. It is what separates us.
That fucking hand there is like
demons.
order.
With the crown, I would impose perfect order, unity, efficiency, control. My kingdom would control its borders and stay within them.
No. Why haven't you got hold of the crown already?
It was stolen from right under my nose all those centuries ago.
No, okay.
The archdevil Mephistopheles snatched up the crown and squirreled it away in one of his vaults. He's not more than a frigid archivist. So much power and potential kept inert. He made a miracle into a museum piece. I raged.
That's what happens when you
but only
grab
for
old
a
shit.
decade or so. Then I waited, ever watching for more than 1,000 years, for a mistake, a mishap, a misadventure. And these chosen, who have caused you so much trouble accidentally, did me a favor. They brought the crown back into play.
Because they're the ones with the nether stones.
Yeah.
The crown, I think, is on the Elder Brain, and the nether stones are controlling the crown, which in effect is controlling the Elder Brain, which is how they've gotten the absolute. It must really annoy you that some mortals managed to steal the crown when you couldn't.
Yes, it does. Especially when I see what a bloody mess they've made of their whole scheme. They must have raided Mephistopheles' vault. Impressive, I must admit. But they'll be dead soon. If you don't kill them, the Elder Brain will. It doesn't have feelings in the way you'd understand them.
Ah, Sir Dragon, why'd you throw Hector at me?
It is inevitable. When you destroy the brain, and you will because you must, the crown will be yours for the taking.
Yeah.
And when that moment comes, you give the crown to me. In exchange, I give you the hammer now.
A simple transaction, it seems, but it's more than that. He's offering you an alternative to the mind flayer in your head.
We are not.
Take Raphael's deal and you could free Orpheus. With Orpheus free, you would have no need to rely on the Emperor. But there's no guarantee that Orpheus would be on your side. And if you take the deal, you'll have to fulfill it. You'll have to deliver the crown of Carsus to the devil himself. He claims his ambition is to unite the Hells, but can he be trusted to stop there? Do you trust him more than you trust the Emperor?
Absolutely not.
Skvar! We should do as the devil asks. The Prince of the Comet must rise again.
You were literally one day supporting Vlaakith and shit, and then you did a full 180. I can't exactly use you as a great barometer of morality right now, Lae'zel. I'd rather destroy the crown than risk it falling into the wrong hands again.
How short-sighted. Much better to put it into the right hands. Hands that will ensure it is removed from this world.
For
how long?
And it's the only way you can ensure that you remain part of this world.
Well, there was no guarantees ever since I got on that Nautiloid, so I'm already, you know...
Yeah, no deal, motherfucker.
Yeah, no deal. I'm leaving.
I won't stop you. But time is running out.
But, hey, good news.
So,
we just need to get to, like, the House of Hope, steal the hammer, run out, and then we can, you know, do this at our own pace.
Right up to the moment the world...
But how do we get to the House of Hope?
I'll figure that out. Also, can I go through here? Is he still here? Yeah, he's still here.
Yep, he's still there.
Okay, he's just...
Also, Lae'zel wants to talk to you.
No doubt, because I just rejected the devil's offer. For good reason.
The means to loosing the Prince of the Comet was within our grasp, and you refused it. Why?
It's the devil. I love it. Because we don't need the deal. We can take the hammer from the House of Hope. Because we don't need the deal.
I wanted to follow the open valley, the easy way out. You chose the brambled path. I'm annoyed by it. And I admire you for it.
Back off. Back off.
With Voss.
I admire you for it. Slowly starts to reach her hands down your pants.
It feels like that with that fucking eyebrow raise, and she's just like,
It
I
does.
admire you for it. It's just like, why don't you just fondle my balls?
Just the way she was saying it, I was like waiting for her to reach her hand just down your pants.
There you are.
Uh-oh.
I thought I'd lost you.
Yeah, remember how he did like the mind, like he did the click his fingers and.
Yeah.
It was nice to have a moment of peace and quiet.
Raphael. Well, thank you for your honesty. Of course, I should have known the devil would come sniffing. The stench of impending chaos is irresistible to them. And what did he want with you?
That's between me and Raphael.
I see.
You feel the touch of the Emperor's mind peeling at the edge of yours, trying to gain access.
That is a fair request.
You feel its presence withdrawing from the fringes of your awareness.
Well, at least we know he's,
on this occasion. But know that if you have jeopardized our mutual project, I will be forced to reconsider our alliance. Now,
at least we know he can be reasoned with.
to destroy.
At least in that regards.
A little bit, yeah. But the minute we free Orpheus, we're gonna have a very fun, like, you know, fast sequence of events. I'm gonna head downstairs to the tap house and explain what we've... Unless, is there anyone else to talk to? No. Alright, no. So downstairs we go.
I'm gonna return Karlak here too, by the way, for you.
Raphael must be raging we didn't take his deal. Luckily, his desperation made him careless. Did you hear what he said? The hammer's in his house of hope. If we wanted...
Hey, I'm glad Karlak thinks the same as me.
Granted, it wouldn't be easy. We would need to find a diabolist. One worth their salt should be able to get us into that devil's lair.
Diabolist?
One last trip to Avernus. At least it'd be for a good reason, right? Oh, come on. You don't mean that. Oh, fine.
Yes, eat your dirt.
Alright, you get your house and I'll go downstairs and talk to the Githyanki.
You might get jumped into my cutscene when I do.
There is no deal with the devil.
Deal with the devil. Ooh. The only time that a deal with a devil is actually worthwhile is when you don't have to think hard about the deal. This one, we've had to think hard with. We're not gonna... And I'm like, you know, if we're gonna do backstabby nonsense to them, might as well do it when we're not trying to, you know, do something for him.
I might quickly go and talk to Gale, too, about this deal. He might have some words about what's going on.
Hang on a second. We need a... Let me at least talk to...
You paid Raphael a visit.
Where is he?
I want to hear all about it.
Oh my goodness! Oh wait, no, that's not who I thought it was. Okay, never mind. Where the
Who'd you think it was?
I thought it was the BDSM dude from the Goblin Camp.
Oh.
Where? They said
Oh my goodness! Oh my damn!
Oh my goodness! They're going.
She must have left.
The Githyanki.
A drow or a drink, sweetie. There is no thirst I cannot quench.
Oh, he said in the
Don't miss that face.
the tap house.
Oh. Losing Fionn slashed a big hole in my coin purse. I should get to...
Okay, so there's a... I swear he was, like, nearby, wasn't he?
Isn't right.
Speak to...
Hang on, let me have a
there
look.
he is, there he is. He's up here. I walked right fucking past him, apparently.
Voss, friend of the comet.
I love how my fucking staff is in the way so often because of the fucking dwarf.
Tell me you took the devil's...
Yeah, he got a lot of damage there.
Yeah, he's like half an ear gone. I'm not interested in pacting with devils.
Skaketh. Orpheus will be free. There is no cost too high to unshackle my people.
Don't go so fast. I was trying to read. Sorry, I thought it was like a non-important dialogue. Raphael wants a powerful crown in trade. Who knows what chaos he might sow?
No more than Vlaakith will sow in Tunarath and beyond. No more than the Geich will sow across every plain. There is nothing I won't do, nothing I won't give to free Orpheus from the prism. The marks I bear are proof enough of that. But you are the one who carries the astral prism. You are the one who must free the prince. Find a way to retrieve the hammer and free Orpheus from the prism.
Yeah.
I will assemble his remaining honor guard and plan our next actions. Together, we will yet free the true heir of Gith's blessed empire. He will free us from Vlaakith and lead our Kithraki against the Geich. Istik, I will wait in the underground.
I thought he said his dick.
Ishtik.
For a second there, I thought he said his dick.
The Prince of the Comet aches for Githyanki liberation more than he abhors Geich. He might seethe when you free him. He might gnash his teeth and slander your name. But he will see reason. I promise you.
No, I kind of believe him when he says that.
There's got to be a way that we can have both.
And mine. Our true enemy is the Elder Brain. Focus your mind there.
We're doing things, Emperor. Alrighty,
Now I'm going to talk to Gale quickly about the whole crown situation.
Alright, let's hear what Gale has to say.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, he doesn't have anything. Well, oh, he talked about a tower we could go to.
Right, that's probably in the city. We probably got to go there.
He talked about like a scholar. It's like a library shop thing.
Come here. I'm not going to start an argument. I just want to know why you turned the boss down.
Did he tell you to try and win me over with your charms?
Cheeky. We might be in a brothel, but I'm not that kind of gal. You should reconsider, though. The boss might be a devil, but he'll treat you more honestly than anyone else in the city.
That's still not a much better. There's more people out there than in the city. I doubt that. There's plenty of good people here.
I'm sure you're right. Between the dictators, the murderers, the guild, and the cult, the city's brimming with goodness. Listen, because I'll only say this once. This fight isn't just about Baldur's Gate, or the Sword Coast, or even Faerun. If the Brain wins, the Illithid Empire returns, and worlds you've never even dreamed of will die. Raphael can stop it. He wants to. And he knows how. You're the key. You always have been.
And right there is why we don't give it to Raphael, because he promised us he would never do any kind of like expansionist nonsense. He would just be unifying the hell and what have you. And instead here, what we're hearing here is, oh, he would, you know, fight against the Illithid and shit like that. Conservativeship and, you know, fights are not, they don't go hand in hand very often. Then why make demands of me instead of just helping?
He's a devil. It's his nature. He needs to get his due.
I don't believe a devil cares about the fate of the world.
I won't pretend he's an altruist. But he's looked at the balance sheet. No world, no souls. And it's hard to get leverage on an Illithid. They make terrible clients.
I'm not convinced. I'll stop the Brain without his help.
I doubt it. But even if you do, You won't survive the fight. I'd reconsider if I were you.
Why does she care so much?
She works under him. It's one of those, like, just classic, you know, employer-employee things.
Wizard of Waterdeep. I spoke with the Devil Raphael. Gale wants to learn more about the Netherese crown controlling the Elder Brain. In Baldur's Gate, there is a renowned magical emporium, Sorcerer's Sundries.
Sorcerer's Sundry.
Sorcerer's Sundries.
Oh, another.
Not this again.
Oh god.
Brain appears to be resisting its masters. It's acting of its own.
Greetings, citizen. I trust you are enjoying the city.
I'd enjoy it more if I can get in it.
Oh, remember, we gotta pass to the lower city.
Sorry, chum, can't let you through. Worms Rock's closed for the day. Valyria? Well, I'm not messing about with a murder inquiry for damn sure. Straight ahead across the bridge. A blind ogre couldn't miss it.
Oh my goodness, how could I?
Hang on, whoa, wait for me. Whoop!
That watcher sent him flying.
Yes, darling.
Did you see how far that watcher threw me? Must have been 10 legs.
Where the fuck are you?
I'm coming. You left me all alone in the goddamn whorehouse.
Oh, as if that's a problem.
Well, yeah, there's no whores there I want a house with.
So picky. Besides,
You're damn right I'm picky. I have standards.
You can just talk to people. They don't
I have standards in my daddies.
Halt! We do not know how you gained entry, but your trespass shall not be punished. Lord Gortash has been expecting you.
What?
The Watcher's presence fades, but another takes its place. Confident, dominant, commanding.
My most esteemed guest, we meet at last.
Oh.
I am Lord Enver Gortash. You are the prison bearer.
Do we really never get to, like, just do a fucking one-upsmanship on any of these fucking chosen?
My city.
Like, oh, we, like, fucking Orn, the fucking ball, like, murderer shit. Like, she's, like, you know, playing fucking games with us. The, Mercule fella, we kind of had to just, like, waltz in, and we didn't really do a really good job of, like, betraying him and shit. And then, meanwhile, Gortash is like, hi, welcome to my city. You thought you could get in here? Couple tens of thousands of refugees, and you thought I wouldn't notice 8 of you? Could we talk face to face?
Of course. My Steel Watchers are rather adept at keeping the peace, but not entirely suitable for polite conversation.
More like private
Allow me to formally invite you to my inauguration. Make your way to the ceremonial hall.
We shouldn't have any more trouble from the guards.
Make your way to the
Nice.
audience chamber.
Oh, another. Alright, so over on the left is the entrance hall for Gortash. Fiery Friend is upstairs.
Resisting its masters. It's acting of its own.
Let's not worry about Gortash at the moment. And you're going to Gortash.
Well, it's not exactly explicitly Gortash, it was just a... Oh my god. Someone's trying to steal shit.
What? Oh, what are you doing in here?
You notice the gnome slip a lockpick into his pocket.
Thank Christ I had that perception check.
Not a fist. Go on, get out, or I'll wake the others.
Urkel that Durkle!
I can detect shit.
Gods. I hope they haven't put up the prices again.
That ferry's my last chance out of here. Bakshi's got to have something that'll cover the rest of my fare.
Go ahead. I'll tell them you're funding a ferry ticket with their stolen belongings.
How do you know about that? Did those crooks down the dock send you? I told them I'll get the money in time. Not my fault they're charging triple. Did you money my ass?
So you're a deserter then?
No! I mean, I'm just... I quit. Nothing wrong with quitting a job. My wife said we have to stand and fight, and I can't.
No chair?
I won't.
What do you mean no chair?
I'm not made for this.
Whoop. No, there it goes.
I kind of want to just give him the money. Will this get you home?
Really? You'll just give it to me? Look. Hidden up on the roof, you'll find all the stuff I stole. You can have it. Thank you. I'll never forget this. Never.
Except for the fact you will, because you're a coward and you run like a bitch.
Just out of view. Bet I can crack that open.
Gortash must be over this side.
There we go.
Please tell me you didn't just steal from that.
No.
What did the note say? I couldn't really read it.
Let me read it. Let me read it. Yeah. So I unlocked it, and the note reads: "Stealing from your comrades, are you? Shame on you. If the fists can't trust each other, we stand no chance against our enemies."
Ooh, good one.
The fucking thingy.
Okay, so we can go up the stairs. By the looks of it, up the stairs this way, which will get us probably up to the roof. But I think Gortash is in that. Oh, there's a teleportation thingy over here too.
Hang on a sec. I need to.
Never wanted the easy path.
You went through. Okay, you went through those doors. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down, dear. It won't happen.
There's something around there.
And tell me what you're doing in the house.
Okay, there's nothing up there. Oh, so I think these passageways get us to that.
Nothing's gonna happen to us. We'll tell them what happened, and we'll be home in no time.
Okay, there's no way up to the roof from here. I say we don't do Gortash just yet.
No, fair enough.
I say we focus on our mini quests first.
Okay, so I can get there's a
Oh, Gortash is over here in this door.
That's to get to a coordination thing. Actually, well.
No, go to the audience hall.
Once again, I still can't press escape. Something's stopping me from pressing escape.
I was able to press escape.
I can quick save, but that's it.
Alright, do a quick save and we'll restart the game. Don't. Yeah, there's this is the audience chamber, so Gortash must be in here somewhere.
Lady Oberyn, Lady Druenbold.
No, in here.
Lord.
See, audience hall.
Oh. Okay. Oh, Thieves' Stash, up this way. Oh, it's a lot higher up than this. Okay.
Yeah, there must be a way up and around from here somewhere. There's probably a... maybe one going up to the audience hall would probably get us up closer. But as I said, let's try to avoid there for now and focus on finishing the small quests first.
Yep, alright, okay. Alright, let's make our move. Yep, alright, so we're going the right way.
Because I feel like if we go straight through all these, main quests, we're gonna miss a whole pile of stuff.
Oh my goodness.
If it isn't little Will's chums.
Oh, for fuck's sake, it's this bitch.
Heard about his father. The Dead Three's puppet. A travesty, really. He's upstairs in Worm's Rock, ordaining Gortash as Archduke. A splendid shindig, I hear. Perfect for crashing. Go on up. We'll talk after. And bring the pup along, if you can. I'd hate for him to miss the fun.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to bring along to this thing. And then this would lead us to the lower city.
So it's just a different region. I don't think it'll affect the story.
Hopefully not.
Because it's like being able to travel from the different regions in Act 2.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Just funny things.
I can see you moving your face and everything. It's like you're trying to do something.
I need to like practice like being able to control different muscles in my face. Maybe one day I'll be able to do like that proper eyebrow thing, like that. Hang on. No, I can't do it yet. No. In combat, press O to enter tactical view. Noted.
No shit.
Who would have thunk? Ah, excuse me. Ah. God damn, so tired. So many days, I'm just tired. Highlight everyone around you with the grave key. Yeah, that's actually been kind of useful.
Ah! Thank you for the lift, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. Ta-ta!
Oh,
the apple.
Shapeshifter Boom Ring. While shapeshifting or disguising yourself, you gain a D4 bonus to all checks.
Will result in imprisonment and
mind my stamina.
The Ancient Sigil for the Basilisk Gate.
There's a lot of quests here.
Investigate murders, the Pale Elf, murder targets. So yeah, they are different like murder targets
You
and
think
such.
you can do better? Teach me your
Hmm.
story.
Wonder if there are any stores around here.
Hag support. Have you been hexed by a hag? Lost a loved one unto a deal? You're not alone. Join other survivors of hag treachery at Baron's Coop. Alone, we're vulnerable, but together we can stand up against hags.
Why do I get the feeling the hag is part of that? Because we didn't kill her, did we?
Elf Song Tavern. For the stout and sturdy. Master Lorican, the arcanist of Athkatka, the recluse of Ramith's Tower, seeks brave and enterprising individuals to delve treacherous temples and recover storied artifact, the Night Song, for preservation in Baldur's Gate. Only stout of... Oh, that's absolutely hilarious. We found the Night Song already. Foreigner should be shut. Fuck you. Rat problems? Not for long. Hire Stompin' Boars, the rat catcher, and your troubles are over. Small rats, big rats, giant rats, rabid rats, any kind of rats. Boars stomps them all. Reasonable rates, corpses and rat pellets removed at no extra charge. References upon request.
Baldur's Gate. Okay.
You won't lose us. We've come this far, haven't we? Whatever happens, we'll be right here with you.
I hope so. I really do.
Oh my goodness, there's a corpse here. Oh no, they're unconscious. What the fuck happened?
At least let us take her to a doctor. I don't like this. I don't like the look in some of their eyes.
Oh. They're like the police.
one blow. One blow and she drops like she's dead.
Well, maybe she is.
What did she even do? I bet nobody knows. I didn't see her do anything wrong.
That was like a really,
Used to think those things were gonna make me feel safer. Not anymore.
Just the read on that one is like the guy was brought in. Here, read this. Oh no, she is dead. Oh, how terrible.
Oh no.
They're all like, yep, let's just use that one.
Conscious and won't be.
Alright, I thought there would be more to that interaction, but okay.
Okay, the elf. Oh, here's the elf song tavern over here.
Ooh.
Got all back.
They could be of use.
Strange beggar lumbar. Why is he? Ooh.
Actually, I think the elf song.
Give it your best shot.
He's undead.
Air of decay hangs over the stooped beggar's form. The smell of rot. The smell of death.
Funky.
Gold first. Then you can hit me.
Aha. I hit very fast. Are you sure you're up for it?
It's not a flat fee. You pay per punch, mate. Faster you hit, faster I make coin. So, you having a go or not?
Sure.
Back for more? I don't mind. So long as you're paying plenty. Lots of angry people in this city. No one else to take it out on. Go on. You seem like you've something pent up. So, you having a go or not?
What happens if I just give you... Oh, hang on.
Then move. Let someone else have a go.
What? It's not good to bottle things up.
Hilarious.
Am I able to go through a door before you start talking to everybody?
Alright. Oh my god, where the fuck did you go? Oh, you went all the way to the elf song, okay. I haven't even fucking left, like, I'm going through the back streets.
To burn this sickness from us all.
Oh my goodness.
If you've come to the elf song to hear what's going on, never fear, because your girl Una hears everything.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I love how we're just like, uh-huh, is that so?
I'm gonna talk to him, see about getting the room at the tavern.
Oi, oi.
Oi, oi.
The seat. If you can find one spare, that is.
I'm looking for a place to stay.
The murder upstairs has brought some punters, but it's also really spooked folk out of renting rooms.
The murderer?
If we get you staying up there, perhaps folk will calm down and realise there's naught to worry about.
What murderer?
You can have the whole upstairs floor until this killer thing blows over.
Might as well.
The floor's all yours. If it gets a bit too noisy at night, well, don't sleep above a pub.
Haha! So that's our tavern room now.
Oh! So if I go to camp... Bloop. Hey! Foraging is a thing of the past in the Elf Song Tavern. To purchase camp supplies for resting, simply visit the Dumb Waiter Hatch. Yenna!
I brought my own paring knife. Now I just need some ingredients, and I'm gonna make something really good, I promise.
He's got heterochromia.
Yes. This is cool.
I received a dispatch from the Grove. Life carries on there in our absence, just as nature intended. My chosen successor, Francesca, has proven to be a wise choice. Perhaps the wisest I ever made as Archdruid.
You downplay your achievements.
One grand victory may not be enough to absolve a host of small failures. That is where true leadership lies. Not in winning a single vast battle, but in fighting 1,000 smaller ones. Making 10,000 difficult decisions. Finding balance where none seems possible. Day after day. I was all too eager to surrender my responsibilities towards the Grove. Perhaps I was never meant to be Archdruid. To be a leader.
Do it. Do it. Be
As am I.
needing.
I can scarcely imagine life without your company now. And, of course, I made a promise to help you. One I intend to fulfill. Forgive me. The Shadow Curse occupied me so entirely and for so long. I almost missed the purpose it gave me. Now I must find a new one. Given the circumstances, you're faring as well as...
Yeah. Alright. I am going to talk to...
No. Actually, stay with me.
Oh, lol, the mirror is smaller. Owlbear!
Hoot the owlbear!
Camp life seems to suit the young owlbear. His coat of feathers seems fuller. His eyes look bright and inquisitive.
Nice. Glad that he likes it.
Actually, I have the ability to talk to him at the moment. I wonder if he says anything.
Anything new?
Where is he?
This is the city proper, is it? I didn't expect it to be so outrageously...
ordinary.
Voss has done his duty.
Oh, the scary.
Do ours.
Where's the owlbear?
To the House of Hope and take
Oh, there he is.
into the astral.
Hello, little owlbear. I'm going to come and say hello to you.
Sure, that's the best course of confirmed.
Hello. You are not food. You are friend.
Yes, we are not food. Thank you for remembering this.
Nice here. The caves.
Same thing as before, he said.
I made it back. I'm here. Thank the gods.
Yay.
Thank the gods.
This is like the first time she's relieved.
Let's go. Copper for your thoughts.
I think the owlbear actually gets bigger at a point. I've seen clips of like owlbear companion that you can get.
The bustle here takes some getting used to. Still, we must flow with the current we find ourselves in, however tumultuous it may be. If you've need of me, I'm glad to help.
Cool. Why doesn't El Minister take on the Absolute, or Mistra herself?
No doubt she has the power to do so, but as for the permission, Ao would not look kindly on her meddling in mortal affairs. Divine intervention has a tendency to make things worse, not better.
Okay.
As for Elminster, he saved the realms more times than legend can recount. But to take on a god is no easy feat, even for him. My orb is the best chance we have. And only I can wield it.
What if we... What if we were to turn him into a god?
What do you mean?
What if we were to turn Gale into a god?
He hasn't really given us that option
Come to
yet,
bask in the glow
but...
of the Moon Maiden's sword? Be most welcome. I am free from my bonds, but not my duty. You must face them.
So, same thing as last time. Alright, cool. Hey, a hookah.
A hookah, hookah,
No,
hookah.
I didn't mean to pick up the hookah.
Ha ha, you picked up the hookie.
There we go. Don't...
You picked up the hookie spooky. So there should be a room here for... That should be the Elder's room, or the Emperor's room. Oh wait, did anyone speak to Will after we ran into Mistora?
No.
Mizora? Let's see what he has to say.
Men, women, children, all barred from entry. A damn travesty.
A decade ago, Baldur's Gate would have welcomed any and everyone seeking refuge. Who would take in these souls, if not the Jewel of Balduran?
Must be Gortash's
As long as Gortash is in charge, they'll be left shivering at the gates. All part of the plan, of course.
We might need him with
Step 1,
us.
create an army and order it to march on the city. Step 2, shut the gates in the name of security. Step 3, bask in the applause. Gortash hasn't made Baldur's Gate safe. He's made it a prison. And when his army breaks through, the people will have nowhere to run. To make this city a safe haven, we'll need to bathe Gortash and his allies in their own blood.
That's a bit much. Grand Duke's domain. Fossilized shell. I'm gonna send that to camp.
Oh, you're out of the camp, are you?
No. I'm just like, rather than like opening up a thingamajiggy.
Oh.
Garb of the Land and Sky. Well, I'll have a look at that
Hmm.
time. Would you like some scrolls? Because I'm not really using these.
Welcome back.
Let me if you've got them.
Going to make this place famous, I reckon. Victim is a bloody duke. Boleyn Stelmane. Well, she was
that's
the duke. No, she's just bloody. I reckon I'll be able to charge double for that room once the constable's done with it. Murders and...
Alright, I'm gonna throw you like nearly every scroll I have.
Cool.
There you go.
Thank you.
I need to like reduce the weight of shit I have. The big boys chew toys sent to camp. Woodwinds sent to camp.
There's a cat here. I'm gonna talk to it.
You're gonna talk to a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Tambourine. A servant comes to help us.
Oh, classic cat.
Kill those rats, would you? When they're dead, the other servants will feed us.
Alright, so we got some rats to kill.
I don't think that was an actual quest.
The cellars are just down the stairs. There, you'll find my old lodgings.
Just look at those cheek. You okay, Code? Gaze upon this depiction of yourself. It will bless once per long rest. Yay! Code? Chat? Hello? Just had a blackout. Ah, okay. So Ko the Yoshi just had a blackout most recently is why. Give me a minute. No idea. Okay. Ha. I have the greatest idea. It could be temporary, but having a look outside. Okay. Hang on. So Melbourne blackout. Blackout crisis rooted in a decade of coalition. Alright, actually no energy. Power outage report. City Power and Parkour. Live outages map. Let's have a look. Ah! I don't want to talk to any of you. Making me bald. Poking me in the nose. Poking me in the butt. Supply. Okay. I'm. I don't want to go too far in the story because like it's very much tied to code, and I don't want to go ahead or anything like that with this sort of thing. Where the fuck is he? I don't know where code is on the map, and I don't know. Are you about to end? I don't know. I'm curious, like, cause I don't want code stressing. Marbles? No, not marbles. So, so yeah, because they're making a note that, like, estimated restoration was, like, 4 in the... Oh, they say, wait, 4 in the morning today, but then there's another one that says 11 p.m., and then there's another one that says 11:30. Like, it looks like there's all sorts of people having, like, power problems in and around. Some of them are, like, being told that it won't be until, like, the next day, however. I hope they're not in that kind of a problem. Huh. God damn, how does any... What the fuck? There's just a... Nani? What happened? Code the Yoshi, they're in Melbourne, and because of, like, a series of storms and such, sometimes there was, like, a blackout that went off, and right now they're just, you know, having a look outside, seeing if anyone else is affected, and yeah, I'm kind of curious about, I'm relatively curious if they're, gonna be okay and such, so we're just gonna give him a minute. So, also, it's probably like a dead silence for you guys. Sure, we might not have power back until midnight. Alrighty then. Righto. Sorry to, yeah. Alrighty, so yeah, it looks like we're gonna end it there. So, yeah, because code might not get power until midnight, and I don't want to go. I don't want to go any further in the Baldur's Gate 3 game without code with me, quite frankly, because this is meant to be our D&D night. It's supposed to be an adventure between the two of us and what have you. So yeah, let me just quickly give Code the Yoshi a shout out, so then that way, you know, it's okay. Picked a bloody good time to happen. Nearing the end of the night. Fair enough. Yakuza? Nah. Because here's the thing, is I'm actually going to be... Because it's only like a little under an hour to go. Like, we can cut it short. We've been at this for like a little over 2 hours. And also, what's more is, I've got a stream to do tomorrow morning as well. So, if you're an American viewer, you're going to have like a better time trying to watch my stream. Because tomorrow morning for me is like 5 or 7 p.m. depending on your time zone for you. And so, like, for me, because I'm doing it in the morning, that's still an okay time for Australians because it's going off in the morning. The only people that have, like, a really bad time with the time zone is, technically speaking, like, Europeans, because it's going off in the middle of the night for them and such. So, yeah. Alrighty then. Let's go for a raid. Let's go for a raid. Let's see who is online on Twitch and see who we might want to go and raid. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, looks like Geralt is doing a raid right now. Oh, sorry, he's not doing a. Sorry, isn't doing a raid. They're doing a what's-a-mahoozy, thanks for the short stream. Not to worry, Fairy Cures. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow morning and it won't be like a terrible sort of sleeping hours for you or anything like that. So we're gonna go give Geralt Hart a raid because they're about. It looks like they're about to start. Don't worry. Stressing. Tonight for you. Oh yeah, that's right. D&D night. D&D night. Alright, we're gonna do D&D night cancelled and our crying emoji. That's gonna be our raid message for Geralt Hart. And yeah. Alrighty then. I'm just... Oh, now I can save my game, apparently. Save the game, and then I can, like, force close out of it. I will be online streaming and all that kind of such tomorrow morning for me, which will be the evening for the Americans. And, but yeah, so I'll be streaming again then, and it's going to be going through more of Shadowbringers and such. So it's going to be, hopefully it'll be very fun then. And otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry for doing like a short one, but I don't want to go too far ahead without code. Be sure to give him a follow, give him cheers and subs the next time he streams to make him feel better. And otherwise, I'll see you all another time.